You're playing Fortnite, and all of a sudden, you find yourself in a fight against UnknownxArmy. What would you do? Would you try to build, or would you shoot back? No matter what you do, one thing is clear, you would end up dead. Because right now, UnknownxArmy is one of Fortnite's deadliest controller players in the world. At first though, he was the odd one out. A controller skimmer in a pro scene dominated by mice and keyboards. Peers shunned him, and there were doubts if he could ever perform on a big stage. Regardless, he ignored the haters and set out on a mission to prove them all wrong. Before we all knew him as a controller legend, UnknownxArmy was just another humble console player. On his Xbox, he would sweat and always played to improve, but never really had any aspirations of making it big. Then, one day, he was watching some pro players stream and realized his skill level wasn't that far off from theirs, and that perhaps he too could become a pro. Determined, he set out to make it happen. But going pro on a console just wasn't possible at the time. He needed a PC, yet his parents were reluctant to buy him one. So, what did the 14-year-old unknown do? He spent a lot of time in creative, bettered himself every day, and eventually, with substantial confidence in his skills, he began grinding kill wagers. For those of you who don't know, kill wagers are essentially a money bet on who can get the most kills in a game, and whoever does wins the cash. Wagers have opened up a lot of controversy lately, as some see it as unregulated gambling. That may be somewhat true, but in Unknown's case, the outcome wasn't random. He would absolutely obliterate opponents he came across, and so coming out on top wasn't a game of chance for him, it was a game of skill. And eventually it got to the point where Unknown won so many wagers, he had earned himself enough to buy a brand new PC. Now he could frag out with advantages such as higher frame rate and stretched resolution, rest in peace. Finally, he had what he needed to go pro. All he needed was a big break. And that break would come in the form of the Fortnite World Cup. But going into the qualifiers, Unknown had zero prior scrim experience, compared to the hundreds of hours other pros had. And while that fact might have held some players back, Unknown wouldn't let it inhibit his play. The game plan was to go out there, play aggressively, and do it as he always does, slay out.
Here. Nice edit through 171, doesn't get the elim. Yes, he did get the elim, and another one on the regular.
Unknown didn't get any victory royales that day. Still, his calculated W key play style and a ridiculously clutch last game made him become the first controller player in all of Fortnite to qualify for the World Cup. And when he learned the big news, he and his friends were overwhelmed with joy. A few weeks later, what do you know? He did it again to end up becoming the only controller player on the planet to qualify for the World Cup twice. But the thing is, those games were all just online qualifiers, and most of the players he went up against weren't top-tier pros. And come the finals in New York City, Unknown would be up against the best of the best. So the question was, could he prove himself when it matters the most?
But we're jumping right into this battle right here. UnknownxArmy, who has had the time to prove to the world that he is here to bring the heat. Early on in our competitive days, UnknownxArmy was known. Take over, Golden.
This is it, man. UnknownxArmy, one of our first controller players. Actually, he was our first controller player to qualify for the Fortnite World Cup. Perhaps this is going to be the opportunity that he was looking for, Monster. Put himself on this stage.
He's just taking all of these platforms, too. He's gaining control slowly but surely. Nice little peek right there. He goes for the staircase first. So clean.
Doing this all with a controller. You know, we have millions of players that play on controller at home, and he goes in, does apply white damage. One more, that's gonna do it. Commandment was in third place, and UnknownxArmy now made him put in the place that he wanted him to.
Although Unknown had his moments, by the end, he didn't perform to the standard that he had been holding himself to. Not only did he have problems with his drop spot, but some lousy loot RNG as well made it a lot more difficult for him to run his usual aggressive playstyle. Either way, Unknown finished in 69th place, which still netted him 50k. And although he was far off from his goal of winning the whole thing, he didn't give up. He instead used it as motivation to improve. To quote Unknown himself, the times you are playing the worst are the times you are improving the most. And that type of attitude is what winners are built out of. And it's that exact attitude that we try to instill at ProGuides as well. If you guys want to get better at Fortnite, go to ProGuides.com and go play with a pro coach right now who will help you become as good as UnknownxArmy or any other pro that you're interested in. You just need that improving mentality. After the World Cup, a new era of UnknownxArmy would begin, the era of the Cash Cup King. When Epic began running these weekly online tournaments, Unknown would pop off like none other, finishing first place week after week. It was insane. Nobody came close to performing as consistently as Unknown did, and all of those wins helped him blow up. His stream numbers exploded, his social media following did too, and everyone finally started recognizing his skill. Well, mostly everyone. Because there were, of course, doubters. People that attributed Unknown's success to the fact that he was a controller player and claimed that his aim assist was the only reason he was doing so well.
Yo, chat, if I find somebody, I'm done.
If you guys want my Twitter,
Oh my god!
And while aim assist was definitely busted in some ways, especially the old L2 legacy style that Unknown used, if anyone actually sat down and analyzed Unknown's playstyle, it clearly wasn't just his aim assist. In fact, Unknown is unbelievably gifted when it comes to gaming. He's been playing them since he was basically a toddler, shooters like Call of Duty Black Ops 2 and Counter-Strike even. So, of course, his skills on mouse and keyboard were top-notch as well, and he proved it once and for all when he streamed a Cash Cup using mouse and keyboard with the same hyper-aggressive playstyle.
You just got dogged. There's no way.
On that day, he managed to finish in 5th place. Was his aim as precise as when he used controller? Not entirely. But the simple fact that he could perform so highly regardless of the input means that Unknown wasn't just some L2 spammer that got lucky. He had the game sense, the box fighting skills, the piece control know-how, and an intuitive understanding of the game that most pros didn't possess. No matter how good aim assist is, the way that Unknown dominates lobbies can only be described as an art form. Overall, since solo Cash Cups became a thing, Unknown has taken home the first place prize a total of 7 times, with multiple more placements in the money. This was an unprecedented feat. The level of success is monumental, but still, the best was yet to come. You'd think that after qualifying for the biggest event ever, as well as winning multiple Cash Cups, Unknown would have earned a bit more respect in the scene. But sadly, a lot of pros still disdained him, and controller players in general. Going into the Chapter 2 Fortnite Champion Series, that widespread animosity made it extremely difficult for Unknown to find a worthy squad. So he took the task upon himself and gathered together a group of misfit players. Nobody had any real expectations for the squad, yet the results were mind-blowing.
I knocked a kid. Yo, I hit him right.
All in all, they qualified for the finals in the second week, and come the big day where it was his squad up against the best players in North America, Unknown ended up getting a staggering 43% of his squad's final blows. Everyone watching was absolutely shocked. Unknown annihilated top pros like it was nothing, but still, he couldn't have done it without his teammates. They always kept faith in his ability to rack up limbs, supporting him in no matter what, whether that meant giving him the best loadout every game or rushing to his aid anytime he got knocked. And it worked wonders. They won the Chapter 2 FNCS Finals and took home nearly $200,000. No matter what you think of controllers in Fortnite or the aim assist they've got, there's no denying Unknown worked himself to the bone to get where he's at today. He qualified for the World Cup when no one even knew his name, and even after that, he was never given the respect that he deserved. But he stuck with it and grinded hours every single day on his builds, edits, and aim to become not only one of the best controller players in the world, but one of the best Fortnite players in the world, period. And look at where he's at now. Unknown recently just set a record for the most points ever in NA, winning another cup with Canada, showing that he deserves to hold the title of the Cash Cup King. He also joined the roster of one of the premier esport orgs, NRG, a huge pickup for their already stacked team, And although he's still getting used to the new controller settings after his precious legacy got vaulted, he's quickly coming back to his old self. Knowing where he came from and what he accomplished, Unknown is genuinely one of the greatest and deadliest controller players Fortnite has ever seen. I hope that you guys were inspired by this video. Unknown has the winner's mentality, and to be honest, you can apply that mentality to any aspect of your life and continuously improve and get better. I've been talking to a lot of you guys recently, and you're asking me how to get better at Fortnite. I'm so proud of all you guys who have adopted this winning mentality, just like UnknownxArmy, and really applying it to your life. Honestly, the sky is the limit when you think that way. For all of you guys who like Valorant, we actually have a new Valorant channel. Consider subscribing to that channel if you haven't already. We got some great content coming up for that. And for all of you guys who want to get better at Fortnite, make sure to go to ProGuides.com and find a pro coach right now. We're also doing some live streams on there, which is pretty fun. Go check it out. Once again, it's been Christoph with you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. That's it for the video. I hope you guys are all staying safe and you're enjoying your time inside. Have a great day and good luck in your next few games.